Maria, I was scrolling through TikTok last night and I saw 3 different videos where people said, if I was you, I'd buy the Bitcoin. But then I opened that old grammar book you gave me, the one that weighs 10 pounds, and it says, if I were you.
And let me guess, you think the book is lying again?
I'm just saying. If the internet says was and the book says were, my brain starts doing 404 error loops. If I was a computer, I'd probably just crash right now.
If you were a computer, Hugo. Not if you was.
See, this is exactly why we're doing this today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another deeper dive here at Mrs. English Interactive. I'm Maria, your structure specialist.
And I'm Hugo, your communication coach. Today, we are tackling the one topic that makes every stuck intermediate learner want to throw their textbook out the window.
Precisely. We are talking about the subjunctive mood.
Whoa. Wait, subjunctive mood? That sounds like a heavy medical diagnosis. Can we get a translation, please, Maria?
Of course. Technically, it's a grammatical mood used to explore hypothetical or imaginary situations.
Okay, for the rest of us, it's the wishing mood. It's the grammar you use when you want to step out of your boring real life and into a what-if world.
That is a functional way to put it. Today, we're going to look at why this is so difficult for learners, the ghostly history behind it, and why your favorite pop stars can't seem to agree on the rules.
It's a battle between the dictionary and the street, and we're right in the middle.
Let's start with the stuck intermediate struggle. If you are listening to this, you probably know how to say, I was at the store yesterday. That is a fact. It's the indicative mood. You are stating something that actually happened.
Right. Simple. I was tired. He was happy. The coffee was cold. Easy. But then, you want to give advice. Or you want to dream about being a millionaire. And suddenly, the word was becomes a problem.
Exactly. This is where grammar anxiety kicks in. Research shows that nearly 80% of learners struggle to form correct sentences because they are hyper-aware of these nuanced rules. They hear "if I were you" in a movie, but then they hear Taylor Swift sing "if I was" in a song, and they freeze.
It's like being in a multiverse. In your real life, you are a student. But when you use the wishing mood, you're shifting the camera to an alternate reality where you are the teacher, or the president, or a cat.
That multiverse feeling is what linguists call the Irrealis. It describes things that are not necessarily real. Now, Hugo, if we look at the origin of this, the subjunctive used to be much more complex in Old English. It had its own set of endings, its own unique sound blocks.
Sound blocks? You mean phonemes?
Precisely. But over the last few hundred years, English has been on a diet. It's been getting simpler. Most of those unique subjunctive forms have vanished, leaving behind only a few ghosts in the machine.
I love that. Ghost in the machine. So the only reason we still say if I were instead of if I was is because this one tiny piece of ancient grammar is refusing to die?
In a way, yes. For most verbs, the wishing mood looks exactly like the past tense. If I had money, had is just past tense. But with the verb to be, the ghost appears. In formal, LinkedIn English, we use were for everyone. I were, you were, he were, she were, it were.
Wait, it were? If it were raining? That sounds so fancy, Maria. Like I should be wearing a tuxedo while saying it.
It is the polished version. For maximum clarity, using were signals to your listener immediately. Hey, I am not talking about reality right now. I am imagining.
But here's the kicker for all you guys listening. In the real world, on the street, in the pub, on TikTok, native speakers are lazy. They see the word I or he, and their brain automatically goes to was, because that's the helper word we use 99% of the time.
And this is why it's a high-friction topic. If you use was in a formal essay or an IELTS exam, you might lose marks. But if you use were in a very casual text message to a friend, you might sound like you're trying too hard to be a dictionary.
It's a social minefield. You're stuck between sounding wrong to a teacher and sounding weird to a friend. No wonder people have anxiety.
Which is why we need to understand the why. The wishing mood isn't just a rule to memorize, it's a tool for distance. We use the past tense form, the were, to create distance between our words and reality.
Distance. Like how I stand at a distance from a salad, but stay very close to a pizza?
Exactly. The more unreal the situation, the more distance grammar we need. If I say, if I was late, I'm sorry, I might actually have been late. That's close to reality.
But if I say, if I were a bird, I am definitely not a bird. I'm 180 pounds of human. That's a huge distance.
Precisely. Now, before we get into the meat of the lesson and look at how to actually build these sentences without your brain melting, I think Hugo needs a refill on that coffee.
I definitely do. My multiverse camera needs some new batteries.
Take a quick breath, everyone. We'll be right back to break down the was versus or showdown and see which pop stars are actually getting it right.
Stick around. We are back. Hopefully, you've got your coffee, your batteries are charged, and you're ready to look into the meat of this lesson. Because now, we're going into the lab.
The lab, Hugo?
Yeah, we're going to dissect this thing. We're moving past the wishing mood and looking at the command mood.
Precisely. In formal terms, this is known as the mandative subjunctive.
The command mood. This is when you aren't just wishing. You're telling someone what needs to happen.
Correct. We use this after certain trigger verbs of suggestion, necessity, or demand. Verbs like suggest, recommend, insist, and demand.
Here's the thing, guys. This is where your brain is going to scream at you. Your brain is going to say, this is wrong. But Maria is going to show you why it's technically the LinkedIn way to speak.
Let's look at a sentence. The boss insists that he be on time.
Whoa. Hold the phone. He be? Maria, if my students say he be in a normal sentence, they think they're making a huge mistake with their helper words.
You mean the auxiliary verbs. And you're right, Hugo. In the fact mood, the indicative mood, we would say, he is on time. But because the word insists is a trigger, the verb that follows must be in the bare infinitive.
The naked verb. No S on the end, no is, no was. Just the base, original version of the word.
Exactly. I suggest that she rest, not rests. It is essential that they arrive early, not arrived. The doctor recommended that he stop smoking.
See, this is why students get stuck at the intermediate level. You spend 3 years learning that he needs an S on the verb. He walks, he talks, he rests. And then Maria comes along and says, actually, if you use the word suggest, throw that S in the trash.
I wouldn't say trash, Hugo. I'd say we are setting it aside for a more sophisticated structure. This is very common in American English, though our friends in the UK often prefer to use the helper word should.
Wait, really? So a Londoner would say, I suggest that he should rest?
Precisely. It's a way to avoid the naked verb while still keeping the meaning. But if you're taking an American exam or working for a US company, that be or rest is the gold standard.
Okay, let's pivot back to my favorite battle. If I were verse. If I was. Because this is the one that causes the most grammar anxiety in the coffee shop.
This is the past subjunctive, which describes situations contrary to fact.
The multiverse camera again.
Exactly. Now, we already mentioned that were is the formal choice for all subjects. But let's look at the why. Why do we have this rule? It's about word best friends. 3. In English, certain structures just love to hang out together to signal a specific meaning. When we use were, we are creating a collocation that signals unreality.
So, if I were is like a no-entry sign for reality. It tells the listener, don't look for this in the real world.
Perfect analogy. But Hugo, you mentioned Taylor Swift earlier. Let's look at her lyrics in So Long London. She says, and I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free. Wait, that's not the one. In many of her songs, she uses if I was for hypotheticals. Why do you think she does that?
Because she's a genius of intonation, the music of the sentence. 4. If she used were in a pop song, it might sound too stiff. It's the TikTok version of English. If I was feels more emotional, more like a real conversation you'd have with a friend at 2 stiff on 1 a.m. 2-3 soon.
However, we must warn our students about the textbook lies. 3. Many books will tell you was is always a mistake. That is not true. Was is for the real past.
Oh, I love this part. Tell them about the investigation.
If you're looking at a situation that might have happened, you use the indicative. If I was rude to you yesterday, please forgive me. I am not imagining a multiverse. I am checking a fact from yesterday. 5.
But if I were rude to people, I wouldn't have any friends. That's the multiverse. I am generally a nice guy, right, Maria? So I'm imagining an alternate version of Hugo who is a jerk.
Precisely. If I was equal stock, it happened, maybe. If I were equal stock, it didn't happen. Dreaming.
Did you guys catch that? That's the secret rule that native speakers use without even knowing it. If it's a fact check, use was. If it's a dream check, use were.
And don't forget the support sentence, the subordinate clause. 3. The if part is just the setup. The second part of the sentence, the consequence, almost always needs a modal verb like would, could, or might. 7.
If plus were, right tarot, would. It's a pair, like peanut butter and jelly. You can't have one without the other.
Technically, you can, but it changes the mood entirely. Now, Hugo, I've been talking for 5 sentences. Is that too long?
You're right on the edge, Maria. Let's break this up. I want to talk about how this sounds when we actually speak. Because the grammar is one thing, but the music of the sentence is where the magic happens.
You're referring to the stress-timed nature of English? 4?
Yes. When we say, if I were you, we don't say it word for word. We use that relaxed vowel, the schwa. It sounds like, if I were ya.
Wär ja?
Okay, maybe if I were you for your LinkedIn meetings. But for the TikTok version, it's fast, it's connected, and that were almost disappears.
We are reducing the function words to prioritize the content words.
We're making the boring words small so the important words can shine.
I suppose that is a fair assessment.
All right, we've covered the wishing mood and the command mood. Your brains are probably feeling a bit like scrambled eggs right now.
Don't worry. Mistakes are just data points on the road to fluency. 3. Take a moment to process everything.
I'm going to go find a snack. If I were a millionaire, I'd have a robot bring me a donut right now. But since I'm not, I'll be right back.
We'll see you in segment 3 for the real-world test.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the final round. I've put on my LinkedIn jacket, Maria. I'm ready to be professional. I'm ready for the real-world test.
You look very distinguished, Hugo. But the jacket won't save your grammar if you forget the mood.
Oh, I know. I'm feeling the grammar anxiety right now. 7. But remember, guys, don't overthink it. Think of the context first. LinkedIn or TikTok? Formal or fun?
Excellent advice. Let's begin our test. I will give you a scenario, and you have to decide was or were.
Bring it on.
Scenario 1. You are in a job interview. The recruiter asks how you handle stress. You want to say, in your shoes, I would stay calm.
Okay. Interview? LinkedIn vibes. High stakes. This is the wishing mood because I am not literally in her shoes. So, if I were you, I would stay calm, correct?
Ding. Correct. And Hugo, how would you say that naturally?
Oh, I wouldn't say if. The shirt. Oh, I'd use the music of the sentence. 11. I'd use the schwa, dollars partial dollar on the word were. It sounds like, if I were ya, I'd stay calm.
Perfect. You reduce the helper word to focus on the action. Scenario 2. You are talking to a friend about a party last night. You can't remember if you said something offensive because you were tired.
Party? TikTok vibes. This is a fact check. It actually happened. So, if I was rude last night, I'm sorry.
Spot on. You are not imagining a multiverse. You are investigating the past. 13. If you said, if I were rude, it would sound like you're saying it's impossible for you to be rude.
Which, as we know, is not true when I haven't had my coffee. Okay, Give me a hard one.
Scenario 3. You are writing a formal recommendation for a colleague. You want to say it's necessary for the company to hire him.
Formal recommendation? This is the command mood. We have a trigger word, necessary. So, it is necessary that the company hire him.
No S on hire?
No S. It's the naked verb. Even though the company is a singular subject, the command mood demands the base form.
Hugo, I think you've graduated from the stuck intermediate phase today.
Yes. But guys, here's the most important part of the test. If you're talking to a native speaker and you say, "If I was you," by mistake, don't freeze up. 7.
He's right. Most native speakers use them interchangeably in casual speech. The goal is connection, not perfection. But knowing the difference gives you the power to choose.
Exactly. You want to be the one who chooses the mood, not the one who's scared of it.
Let's wrap this up with a quick look at the music of the sentence one last time. When we use the subjunctive with would, we always contract.
I would becomes I'd. He would becomes he'd. If I were rich, I'd buy a boat.
It creates a better rhythm.
All right, let's get out of here before Maria starts talking about Latin roots again.
Be that as it may, it was a pleasure.
Here is your text message summary for today. Don't stress the subjunctive. Just remember, use if I were for dreams and advice, and don't panic if you hear if I was on the street. Done.
Thank you everyone for joining us for this deep dive. Don't forget to check the description for your key study words.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. If you were a superhero, what would your power be?
We will see you next time on Mrs. English Interactive.
Keep flowing, guys. Bye.